Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry if you hear thundering. It's like there's like an epic storm going on outside right now. But yeah, I just wanted to sit down with you guys and have a little chit chat session. I'm starting something new having to do with med school and med school advice. I'm already done with step one, obviously, and comp. Which, if you're at a medical school on the Caribbean islands, most of you may know about this. So comp is basically a comprehensive exam on all your basic sciences subjects. I think it was half of what step one was. So comp is this deadly exam that you have to pass for a lot of Caribbean med schools to be able to move on to the clinical part of your medical school journey. For my school, our comp is at the end of our 5th semester, and we have to take it on the island. And a lot of people are just like really scared of it. I was terrified of it when I took it. But I'm just going to share with you guys what I did, what worked for me. Once again, like this isn't the magic key to success. It's just what works for me. Me in terms of being a student, I always consider myself to be average. I work very hard. I read, repeat, and just keep on doing that. It's a lot of repetition. It's what I've noticed time and time again. Just works and brings about results. So, in terms of comp, the things that you need, the things that I used were first aid for step one. That's like your Bible, your holy book for medical school, step one. A UWorld subscription, Pathoma and the videos, and DIT, the videos. Some other sources that I've used were Kaplan QBank and Kaplan videos, but once again, I'll go into depth about what I did with that. So in terms of starting off to study, I didn't feel adequately prepared with how much I studied on the island, so I knew I needed to put in a lot more work. So what I did was I started off with one go through of DIT. So I watched all the videos and I would watch it and take notes in my first aid, but that was just the first run through. I didn't bother putting too many notes in it. I kind of just wanted to familiarize with terms and things like that. Then what I did was I purchased UWorld, and I really think this is the key because UWorld is amazing. I don't know how they do it, but they kind of just like tweak your mind. You won't even know that you know certain things, but UWorld will just train you on how to think for the test. Like on test day, you will be so nervous that like you will lose a lot of that capacity to like think by yourself, kind of. But UWorld has already instilled that in your brain, so it was actually really cool how it worked. But yes, UWorld subscription. So after I went through DIT once, like this was way early on, I started with a block of mixed UWorld questions, timed, not on tutor mode. So I would take it in testing conditions because time was always a factor for me. I would do it, I would see the score, and okay, trust me, initially you're going to get horrible scores. Like, do not be disheartened. You're not going to get good scores immediately. Just keep on doing them. That's the key. So I would see my score, take it with a grain of salt, and then review the questions. And this, okay, if you're doing it correctly, it should take you close to 4 hours to review 44 questions. I kid you not. The UWorld explanations are so amazing. I would read, highlight, and then whatever facts that I didn't know on questions that I got wrong and questions that I got right, I would annotate in my first aid book. I would find it in my first aid book, read it so that that's my second go through because I've already read it in the explanation. Then I've read it in first aid because I looked it up, and then I would write down a note. So that's what times that you've already reinforced this one fact in your head. So I did that. I did that every single day. Weekends, I didn't do anything. Weekends, I needed to take a break. So 8 hours every day and 4 of those hours are taken up by UWorld and annotating. And then after that, I would do my extra sources. So I was always weak in neuro, anatomy, and pharm. So what I did was I would watch the Kaplan videos and go through the Kaplan books only for that. So what I would do is I would just watch the videos. I wouldn't even read the book. I would kind of just make notes in the subsequent sections for Kaplan. Okay, so I would do the Kaplan for a bit, and then I would also just pick a designated section of first aid. I started at the beginning and read one entire section. I would finish that section, just read it, maybe highlight. If I haven't already highlighted, I would highlight. I forgot to say this before, but I made a UWorld journal. So remember how I said I would annotate the little note in first aid? I would also type it up in a Word document on the computer so that I could have access to it later. So I had it's a personal high yield fact inventory for yourself, like catered to you. So this UWorld journal is key. Like it's so key. Towards the end, I caught myself reading it more when I ran out of other resources to study from. So the first 4 hours was always a UWorld block, followed by the explanations, annotations, and typing it up in my UWorld journal. I would take a lunch break, come back after 1 hour, and then start reading first aid, and then start doing Kaplan. If it wasn't Kaplan, I was doing a chapter of Pathoma. And I usually like to correlate it with what I was reading in first aid. So if I did reproductive in first aid, I would watch the videos for those subsequent subjects, and whatever wasn't in first aid, it correlated very well if you noticed. Like once you start doing it, you will notice that everything goes hand in hand with first aid and Pathoma, but Pathoma has certain factoids that you won't see in first aid, but they would come up in UWorld. So I would write whatever wasn't in first aid from Pathoma. In terms of how many times I went through everything, before comp, I went through UWorld once completely. Every single question, my first aid was completely annotated. Pathoma, I went through 2 to 3 times before comp. Kaplan just once. First aid, I went through probably 4 times fully, 4 read-throughs. You'll notice that if you divvy up your days, then this will start going by faster. You just have to make sure you don't slack on the weekdays and take your weekends off. Like you need a break, that's for sure. So that's what I did in terms of first aid. And I watched DIT videos at the end. Once I was completely done studying, I went through, not completely done because you could never be completely done, let's be real. Once I was done with all my UWorld questions and first aid 4 times, I started watching DIT once more, like towards the end. When I was there will be a time when you get burnt out. It's inevitable. And it's going to thunder right now. Yep. So there will be a time when you get burnt out. At that time is when DIT is clutch. In terms of the Kaplan Q Bank, I thought it was helpful, but definitely not as helpful as UWorld. I would use my Kaplan Q Bank when I was out, like if I was driving, not I was driving, obviously, because you can't like do questions while you're driving. You shouldn't do questions while you're driving. But if like I was driving, my family was driving somewhere and like I had to go, then I would do questions in the car. Or if I was at a barbecue, I would do questions sitting at the barbecue. Or if I was going to get my eyebrows done, I was doing questions sitting at the salon. Like just like random. I had the app on my phone. I didn't like to use UWorld for that because like I like full concentration when I'm doing UWorld because I don't want to miss any fact, like any little fact. But Kaplan, like you could, because some of the questions were like either too obscure and hard or like just like way too easy, and you would get nothing like that. But it's good for on the go. A week before comp, I took an NBME. It's not set in stone, but if you're able to do decently well on that NBME, I think you're going to be okay for comp. And like don't skimp on it, don't like not do it, because it's a very accurate representation of what you will get on the actual exam. But yeah, that's what I did at the end. And towards the end, so initially I did 1 block of questions, but then as time got closer, because I personally had issues with time, I would increase it to 2 blocks a day, 3 blocks a day. And then finally, like I think the last week or something like that I was doing, or like the week before, I was doing 4 blocks a day, because that's how many, without tea breaks or anything like that, because we don't have that factored into our schedule. So I wanted to make sure like I completely replicated test day situation. So that's basically what I did. Just a little like prelude to step 1 studying. It's very similar to what I did for comp. But yeah, that's what I did to study for my comp exam, and I hope that you could like use this advice. Like I said, like please don't think this is the surefire way to like do well or pass or anything like that, but it's just what worked for me. And if you can try it out, the hope, or like pick and choose whatever factoids you think like works well with you. But first aid, U World Pathoma, if you're able to do that, I think you're golden. So yeah, that's my first video on med school advice. Step 1 video is going to come up. Shelf exams for clinicals are going to come up. So if you want to see anything else in terms of like classes or anything like that, like how to do well or pass in certain classes in basic sciences, then please let me know. Give me suggestions. I would love to help out in any way that I can, because I know it was tough when I was doing it. Just a little bit about test day. It's going to be scary. Have a good breakfast, but not too heavy. Have your coffee, but not too much, because you don't be running to the bathroom. Just be smart about it. Don't do anything that you haven't been doing. Like if you don't usually drink coffee before your test, like before doing your UWorld blocks, like don't drink coffee the day of the test. Like try to keep it close to your routine as much as you can, and just get through the questions. I know it seems like a 4-hour test, like that seems so daunting, like it seems like a long time, but like when you're in there and you're focused, like it goes by. Stamina wise, for a 4-block test for comp, you're gonna be fine if you've been practicing and if you don't have a problem with timing. Like I said, you're gonna lose a lot of your confidence and like the comfort that you've had from studying at home on test day because of anxiety, and that's okay. Like you may lose a few points here and there, but like I said, UWorld has trained your brain. Your brain is a lot smarter than you are. Guess to your best ability, and 9 out of 10 times you're guessing correctly, like because it's somewhere in there. Like it's somewhere in there. That's what happens when you have a vast amount of information in your brain. Like it gets dug up when it needs to be dug up, and something or another will cause you to click something that is the right answer. So do that. Don't skip questions. I never used to go back to questions. I would mark the ones that I thought I would get, like I wasn't sure about, or like I knew were wrong, just to assess like how I was doing. And sometimes I didn't even have time to go back and check that. But don't go back and change your answers, because your gut instinct is 9 out of 10 times right. So don't change your answers. Don't spend too much time on a question. I know that genetics questions, like the calculation questions, like they're easy, but I personally, like, it sounds horrible, but I've never actually like taken the time to practice them, because I'm just like, all right, if I get there's going to be like one question on this, and if I get it, I'm going to just sacrifice it. So because it used to take me a long time to do it. So don't spend too much time on one question, because there might be other easy questions that you're going to like not get to do because you're spending so much time on this one question that you think that you could get right if you spend like an extra 2 minutes. Like, bro, no, you don't have that extra 2 minutes to spend. But yeah, if you have any more questions, then please let me know. Comment down below, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Good luck to everybody. I know most of you guys are on vacation right now. Enjoy your vacation. Good luck when you go back. You got this. You can do this. And I'm cheering for you.